Oh, hey guys, welcome back. So today is a Q&A. Wow, I got so many good questions. I probably got like 140. Before I start, I am planning to film every single day in December. Ooh, I don't know what I'm thinking. Guys. If you have any ideas, I already have 15 and obviously that's not enough. But someone commented in my plant tour video today, plant story time. So seeing the progress of a plant from the beginning when I first get it and seeing what it looks like now. I love that idea. So thank you, Wishing on the Moon 1. Okay, I'm not doing this in any particular order. I just screenshotted everything and we're just gonna go through them together. Which plants are you hiding from us? I was gonna say there's only one that I'm hiding from y'all, but I remember I just got some anthurium seedlings, so there's maybe like 7. Are you interested in anthurium I can never say this. Papilliaminum. That anthurium. Okay, so I understand that it's difficult to find a true pap, and you often find hybrids. Any cross with a pap is so beautiful. So yeah, very much interested. Ooh, what's your favorite Filipino dish? And your boyfriend's, okay. I don't know how to cook any Filipino cuisine or bake, any Filipino treat. So he actually hasn't tried enough to know. Okay, and for me, I mean, you could never go wrong with pancit. Palabok is good too. However, I'm allergic to fish and seafood. I'm gonna have to find a non-seafood fish version, but I think it's amazing. Okay, I'm changing a word. Hug, marry, kill. Mealybugs, thrips, and flat mites. Kill right away thrips. Thrips are the hardest to get rid of in my opinion. I just want to hug a mealybug. I know that sounds awful. That sounds so awful. Yeah, hug mealybug and then marry flat mite. Do you have a secret room where you keep all those props? No, y'all know that I live in a 600 square foot condo. I just try to be smart with the placement of my plants. I'm planning to build another wire shelf to put the props. My heating is kicking in. What methods do you use to remove pests? I always prefer to use beneficial bugs. The only issue with that is cost. Sometimes when you have outbreaks, depending what it is, you have to buy bugs again and again and again, and it could get very, very expensive. And another drawback is sometimes you need the perfect conditions for them to thrive. And now that we're in winter, it's very difficult for those beneficials to survive. Even if there's a pest on your plant to feed on, how do you know when to repot a plant? My opinion, I feel is controversial. I hate with a passion repotting. More often, plants don't need it. And I'm talking all mediums, so aeroid mix, pon, LECA. I feel the majority of the time your plants do not need to be repotted. 2 things I would say. You need to repot a plant when the roots have almost 100% replaced the medium. So if you take out a plant and it's all root and there's no medium, that's when you need to repot it. And also looking at your newest growth. So if you look at your newest growth, whether it's leaves, stems, looking at both quality and size, if they start to get smaller, then that could be a sign that your plant needs to be repotted. Plants like feeling situated in where they are. They will tend to flourish because they know that they have a foundation now. Once your plants establish themselves in whatever medium you have, they will flourish. And I guess that's where the idea of some plants being root bound comes from. For plants in LECA, it really depends on what kind of plant. I've mentioned anthurium roots don't like sitting in water for a prolonged period of time. So if you have a lot of those going into the nutrient reservoir, I feel it's time to repot it, or you could just cut the roots off and they'll branch above where you cut. Hoyas, I feel I never repot them unless I'm putting on a trellis or something. Do you, or would you use the same semi-hydronutrient solution with plants in soil? From time to time I do. Sometimes I dilute it in water about half. Not often though, but you definitely can. Again, I use the General Hydroponics 3-part series with CaliMagic, Diamond Nectar, RapidStart, and Hydroguard. What's your oldest, newest, favorite, biggest, smallest plant? Okay, I actually want to save this for one of my December videos. So thank you so much, Aiden. Okay, I don't know how to say your Aiden Schmitz. Favorite season? Fall, #1, winter, #2, then spring, then summer. Oh my gosh, am I gonna get so much hate for hating the summer? Again, I love cooler temperatures. How many plants did you declutter? Which ones? How many are left? So if y'all don't know, I had a very, very bad spider mite infestation. One of my methods was to get rid of a lot of the foliage, but also get rid of a lot of plants. I probably got rid of a third of my collection. I'll just name 3 that I got rid of. I got rid of my Syngonium albo, which kind of hurt my heart because she was kind of a staple earlier on in my channel. Because that one was really infested though, and just knowing that I could get a cutting from like a planty friend or buy another one at a relatively cheaper price now that they're more available. Hoya obscura, this was my massive one. Same idea. This Hoya is pretty common. I could probably buy a cutting for like $10 to $20. Philodendron Florida Ghost and Philodendron 69686. You know, although I love those plants, I'm like learning to let go. Although I'm getting rid of them, these plants were part of your journey. These plants, number one, brought you so much happiness, but they also taught you a lot about growing plants, but also about like yourself. Have you ever tried to make a LECA pond pole instead of using sphagnum moss? Okay, let's talk about the LECA pole first. You will see that if you put LECA in the form of a pole, it will dry out. So you either need to put like felt or like wicking cord lining the pole, or you need a method to have like a drip kind of apparatus on top in order to keep the LECA more wet. So yeah, I might try it with a wicking cord and I'm gonna see what kind of progress I have with that one. Pond, I don't even want to think about. And pond's smaller, so I don't even know, like, would you have to glue the pond to a plank or something? What plants have you had not do well in LECA setup? I've said this in the past, peacefully, I've killed 3 during the transfer. My Alocasia watsoniana, another one that I got rid of, hated LECA. I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if it's a plant. I put her in pond and she did okay. Why don't you stake your Monstera Thai constellations? I don't stake them because they follow kind of the pattern of a large form Monstera deliciosa. They will decide where they want to go. Do you think light is the real key to grow massive leaves? And probably one of the most important, definitely. I want to say root health would be number 1 for me. Enough aeration and having just a large, robust root system, I think is the most important. But then if you think in the way, well, would those roots exist if you didn't have quality light? Maybe not. Nutrients also, I think, is a big thing. Not only when it comes to size of the leaves, but the quality. I just want to say I love your non-planty additions to your videos. Thank you so much. Again, was very nervous introducing that. You know, definitely I have to plug in some non-planty stuff for putting out videos every day in December. But yeah, I'm thinking a lot of baking videos. We'll see. Does your plants get on your boyfriend's nerves, or is he somewhat of a plant person too? He's not a plant person at all. And yes, they get on his nerves. Where did your passion for houseplants come from? What's your background otherwise? My passion came from, I liked that it was a challenge. I was never good with plants before. Just learning about plants and just how to make them happy really just sucked me in. What background? I'm assuming like education. I only went to school for nursing. I don't have any other like I can't even say that word. Horticultural background or anything. Which plant do you have that is the oldest of all? 100% my Monstera Thai constellation. What was your worst pest infestation this year and how did you handle it? Spider mites was the only infestation I had this year, and that happened in September. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it was a lot. I was very stressed, and you know, I feel like we all go through this. Every plant parent, we kind of feel just stupid. Like, how could I let this get this far? And like, you know, when you look at pests, specifically spider mites and even thrips, in the right conditions, multiply and reproduce really quickly. On top of that, we live busy lives. So beneficial bugs, I'll put 2 of the bugs that I use. Fantastic. And for a few of the plants, I use the hot water method, just to dunk plants for 30 seconds in hot water. Just because there is research submerging plants in hot water to get rid of spider mites. Also, the eggs don't become viable. Oh yeah, and then I got rid of a bunch of plants. I cut off a lot of foliage on my plants that were infested just to kind of manage it that way. How often do you flush your LECA Lechuza Pon, considering mineral buildups? I want to say never. So my big anthuriums, they've probably been in pon in a closed system. So my Metallica, my Decipins, my Fricatum, my Queen, they've been in pon for more than a year. I want to say a year and a half. And I want to say I only flushed them once. But yeah, I don't flush my pon plants often. My LECA plants, 0. What was the first plant you've killed? But there was a palm that I had for years before I got into plants, and she kind of died a slow and painful. I named her Ursula. That plant was called Ursula. I had her for a while. I had her for probably 6 years. Real or fake Christmas tree? You know, I think both. I know people have very strong opinions that you need to get a real tree. I don't think so. I know people like the pine smell and whatever. For me, structurally, I do prefer having an artificial tree. Have you been to Crazy Plant Shop? I have not. So here in Toronto, Crazy Plant Guy has a shop and a lot of good gems based on what I see. And I know a lot of people here in Toronto have been there and they love it, but oh, the sun is coming out. Okay, just for now, while the sun is out, I'm sitting on the ground, but I brought my blanket, so yay. Which is your most difficult plant? Anthurium waterburyanum. Again, my goal is to make that plant happy. Would you ever get a cabinet for your plants? Space-wise, I don't think it's possible. I would love one. I do like how it looks. How much time do you spend on plant chores each week? Obviously, you know, the majority of my content in the past month has been plant chores, but there's also chores that I don't film. So hours and hours and hours. I don't know, too much of my time. What did you mean by my boyfriend's at the cottage? Okay, I was notified that this is just something that certain Canadians say. So I live in Southern Ontario, in Toronto. There's this thing called cottage country, and there's a Wikipedia page all about it, but I guess I could relate it to like either a cabin, a chalet, but I think most people, maybe specifically Americans, say cabin. But basically he went with his family to a cabin in cottage country. That's why I said he's at the cottage. How are you doing, and will you be sharing more vlog type content? You know, I would love to do like a daily vlog. I really would. My life's pretty boring, guys. I'm not even exaggerating. I don't go out a lot, and that's more of a preference thing. I enjoy being indoors more than outdoors. And so if I did a daily vlog here, it would just be like me taking care of plants and like me playing the new Pokemon game. Like, that doesn't sound like fun. So like the baking is kind of, I don't know, is that the closest that I'll get to a vlog? You hear a potted plant fall on the ground. Which plant did you want to see, and which plant did you not want to see? Ooh, that's a hard one. You know, I would be okay if a philodendron strawberry shake fell onto the ground. I think I just have so many, and I know how hardy they are. Which one do I not want to see? My Monstera Bromarx Flame. If that fell, I mean, thankfully she's in like a really big bucket, but oh my gosh, that would be a tragedy. Have you had to deal with mean comments online? And then another similar one, you are a very likable person, but any discrimination, or what's the worst, if any, since you started YouTube? Any social media platform, there will be mean comments. You know, I'm very grateful and thankful that I haven't had to deal with a lot of that. You guys have been just so awesome. I do have thicker skin when it comes to that stuff. It doesn't really affect me, guys. You know, I always, every time I read one of those mean comments, I just think it's adding to the engagement of the video. So bring it. Biggest tips for those looking to jump into LECA or pon? You know, honestly, I would start out propagating a plant in LECA or pon, just because the whole transferring from soil to pon, soil to LECA is a nightmare, and I feel like that discourages people. Those roots are used to growing in soil, not LECA, not pon. So a lot of the time they die. If you have a propagated plant, those new roots grew in LECA, they grew in pon, and so they're gonna like it. I also like submerging more than one set of like aerial roots into the substrate if you've propagated a plant, you just have a better chance of the plant rooting. And lastly, give it a lot of light. Whether you're transferring it from soil to LECA, soil to pond, the plant is going through shock. It doesn't know what to do. You need to give it a lot of light. Just for the beginning, when it does grow a new set of roots, you can move it away slightly. Why do your plants grow so quickly? It's really the combination of things I've said before. A lot of light, healthy roots, enough aeration in my plant's roots. Obviously, I like my plants in LECA or pond. In those mediums, you have those fixed air pockets. Which plants did you kill? There's an anadendrum. That anadendrum, I tried to propagate it, that died. It's hard because I've gotten rid of a lot of plants. I haven't killed them. Let's just go with the anadendrum for now. Is there a plant you regret buying? Yes, I thought about this recently because I was like looking around. I'm kind of on the edge if I want to keep it. My Hoya CV Kaimuki, huge, robust Hoya leaves, and I mean, she's growing fantastic. I think it's because, and it's funny because she's sitting right in front of me, my Hoya Archibaldiana pink. Let me just grab her. So, oh my god, look at this beauty. So this is the Archibaldiana pink. I first got her, and then because, you know, at the time I really liked huge, thick, robust leaves, I was like, okay, the Kaimuki is basically the same. The frustrating thing with these plants is I feel like they need hot and humid conditions. The Archibaldiana pink, it has not bloomed for me. There are peduncles everywhere. It's probably one of my oldest Hoyas. I probably got it almost 3 years ago, and she hasn't bloomed. So I feel like I only want one of these plants now. I'm gonna keep the Archibaldiana pink. The blooms look beautiful. Google Kaimuki or Archibaldiana pink flowers. They're big pink cups, and I just feel like I don't have the right conditions. So that's why I kind of regret buying the Kaimuki. Most money you've spent on a plant. My most expensive plant, hands down, is my Monstera Burl Marks Flame. I've mentioned before that the price of these have dropped, in Canada at least, between $300 to $500, and I can only speak for House of Monstera prices because those are the cheapest prices I've seen in Canada. At the time though, the prices didn't drop. Are you using a humidifier? So someone commented that they saw a humidifier in my room. I only kept that on because of the beneficial bugs for the spider mites, but normally I don't keep a humidifier on. I'm looking at my humidity now. It says 28%. That's my living room meter. Let me check the bedroom. Okay guys, the bedroom is better. It's at 45%. And what I found with my plants and really clustering them beside each other, I mean, it didn't help with the spider mite situation, but I found last year with a lot of plants clustered together, they kind of feed off each other when it comes to humidity. If y'all didn't know, your plants have a mini microclimate around the plant, which includes humidity. So having plants beside each other, they're kind of feeding off each other's humidity, and it really helps the plant if you have drier conditions in the winter. I know it helped me last year. You can see the difference. We're only a door difference from the living room to the bedroom, but because there's a lot of plants in there, it's 45% humidity versus 25. Can a runner vine on a Hoya be cut? Yes, it can. The Hoya, you know, if you give it the right conditions, which includes a lot of light, guys, it will just push out another vine from another node. And it sounds to me, if your Hoya is vining, that it has other nodes below it, so I wouldn't worry about it. Just be patient, give it a lot of light, it'll push out a new vine from one of the nodes beneath it. If you can avoid the travel and airplanes, would you like to visit Europe? So, I'm gonna say a controversial thing about me. I do not enjoy traveling. I think one thing about me is I don't like being in a place that I'm not familiar with. And on top of that, I feel like travel stresses me out a lot. So I'm either gonna have to go with my boyfriend, who will have to make the whole entire itinerary for me to enjoy my time. But saying that, I'm really drawn to some places in Europe. Denmark would be nice, Norway, Belgium, Germany, I don't know. What's your favorite band? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna name two. Little Mix is my favorite girl band of all time. I have followed their journey, their albums. I'm a huge Little Mix fan, but also, y'all know, I love country music. So Rascal Flatts is like my #1 country music band. There's something about Gary's voice. There's something about Gary's voice. It just gets me. I've seen Rascal Flatts, I think, twice, 3 times here in Toronto. We were right in the pit. We're so close each time. Oh, it was great. Favorite thing to bake, sweet or savory? My go-to bake is cupcakes. And I think I mentioned before, my Earl Grey cupcakes. And it's not like I pulled the recipe off Google. But listen here, y'all. That apple pie, I don't know if y'all saw, but that apple pie I made a month ago was everything. Oh my gosh. I'm also here for like a lemon loaf. That's always good. Ooh, and for the season, like molasses cookies. I love those. Which plant is the easiest to transfer to LECA? This might be a controversial opinion, but I seriously think that Hoyas are the easiest. And the reasons are because if you have this much stem on a Hoya, there's like it's not infinite, but there's so many places where the Hoya can root, because like I said previously, a lot of the roots that already exist, if you're transferring a plant from soil to LECA, they tend to die and rot. So you really want to look at plants that are easy to push out roots. Like for example, if I took a cutting from this Hoya, do you see how much stem? Favorite Beatles song. Okay, Let It Be is my all-time favorite. I think it's because it probably is one of the first Beatles songs I've ever heard in my life. My dad played it a lot when I was young. Another close second, and it's another slow one, The Long and Winding Road. Ooh, there's so many, guys. Come Together. There's something about that bass. It's just brilliant. Oh, hi, Michael. This is from one of my planty friends that I've actually met in real life. He asked, what's the difference between an aerial root and adventitious root? Okay, I've just been using, the names like interchangeably. Is it by definition adventitious just meaning a root that doesn't grow from the main root ball in the medium? So like, I think adventitious is more of a broader term, which includes aerial roots. So I'm not entirely sure. If y'all know, please let me know. A simple, how are you feeling these days, if not already asked? I'm good, guys. I'm really good. I'm definitely going through an adjustment right now, quitting my full-time nursing job and just doing YouTube full-time. Really scared me. It gave me a ton of anxiety, but I know I needed to do it. And ultimately, I'm doing what I love. I guess on the topic of job, I got a lot of questions nursing related. Oh, Grawnya, this gem of a human being, Jungle Flowers Canada. Now that you're not working outside the home, do you wonder how you had time to do YouTube videos? Yes. Oh my gosh, I would have to shoot my videos after work. Being in a job like nursing really takes a lot out of you. No matter what position you are in nursing. It's a lot, guys. Yeah, it was really difficult. I actually, so to answer that question, Grawnya, I don't know how I had time to do YouTube videos before. Did you quit nursing completely? If so, how do you feel about leaving? There's a lot of confusion about this. I know I said I was gonna make a video about this. I went to school for nursing, graduated, became a nurse, started working full-time right away. In September, I quit that full-time position. I didn't quit nursing completely, although that was the initial plan. I currently hold a status of like casual, or some people might understand it more as being like on call, because every time I say casual, like no one understands what I'm saying. So I'm still working at the same place. I work at an outpatient clinic, and if someone calls in sick, if someone wants to take the day off, I am here. So for example, in October, I'm pretty sure I only worked 1 day, and in November, 3 days. So I'm still a nurse, I still practice, I'm just not doing it full time. How do you feel about leaving? I'm gonna be honest, guys, and I know a lot of nurses feel this way. It's definitely a job that I did not enjoy. Other people might feel this way with other professions. You go to school for something and you get into the field and you just slowly realize, oh no, all that time, all that money, all that effort, and I still hate it. So leaving that full-time position, I'm happier now. I got a lot of questions about selling plants. So smaller scale, gonna start selling spring 2023. I mentioned before, I really don't see a storefront being in the cards right now. Okay, I'm gonna move. Yeah, okay. Oh my God, the woman with the dog, I knocked her over. Okay, a lot of questions about wishlist plants. We'll do a video in December. It's gonna be its own video for my wishlist for 2023. I think at the top currently, it's still the Hoya Argentine Princess. That Hoya is just everything. Here's my nosy question. How long have you and your boo been together? I have been with my boyfriend. We just, a few days ago, celebrated our 7-year anniversary. How old are you? You look so young. I am 31. A lot of people think I'm younger, but I am 31. Let's get deep. Where do you see yourself in 20 years? I think at that age, I would be moving out of the city or already moved out of the city. I live in downtown Toronto, love it, was born and raised. I do think I wanna move away. When I'm older. My dream is just to kind of have a greenhouse of my own next to my house. In 20 years, I hope I'm still doing the plant thing. I mean, at that point, maybe I'll be an expert by then, who knows? Do you have any pets? I do not. I'm actually very, very allergic to cats, and I'm allergic to dogs. And I can't even think about having like some sort of rodent just like in a cage. Are we watching Canada versus the world? What do we think about Isis Couture competing? If y'all don't know, RuPaul's Drag Race, watched close to every season. There's some international ones I haven't watched, but the one that just started is Canada versus the world. The winner of Canada's Drag Race, Isis Couture, is competing again. There's a bit of controversy because she won already. I personally love it. I was a huge fan of Isis when she was competing. I think for me, it's the fashion that she brought. Why do you wrap your aerial roots in saran wrap and moss rather than using moss poles? If y'all have been longtime viewers, I wasn't particularly a fan of them. I wasn't a fan just because it doesn't go with my style of taking care of plants, because for moss poles, you really need to keep on top of it and make sure they're like moist at all times. If you have moss in a bag or wrapped in saran wrap, it stays moist a lot longer. The moss poles that North Shore Tropicals sent me, I've been using them and I love them. So I'm kind of switching and changing and seeing, you know, if I actually really like them. So far, I love them. How did you first learn about hydroponics and what made you want to try it? I love you. Love you too. Definitely minimalist Callie. So if it wasn't for her, guys, I wouldn't be growing plants the way I grow them now. Plants you would never buy. Okay, I really go back and forth. Even though I've had bad experiences in the past, I don't think that would prevent me from like exiling that plant in the future. Even though I've talked very badly about pink princesses, if there was one with like a ton of variegation and specifically a more mature plant, I would definitely want to grow that again. Calatheas. I haven't owned a calathea in like 3 years. Well, would I love to grow them again and see how they grow now that I have so much more experience with plants? Yeah. What's one plant you would bring with you if there was a fire? Monstera Burl Marks Flame. Oh my God, flame. How did you meet your boyfriend? I met my boyfriend on a dating app. Oh my God, I love this one. Assign a plant to each Hogwarts house. You know, this is actually very difficult because like it's hard to put a characteristic to a plant like Gryffindor bravery, Ravenclaw intelligence. Like how? Okay, I'm just going literal. So I would put Hoyas in Slytherin because their tendrils just like slither everywhere. For some reason, I want to put anthuriums in Ravenclaw. Do y'all agree? Monstera is in Gryffindor. And let's put philodendron in Hufflepuff. I don't know, guys. What's a good plant gift for a new homeowner? Easy to take care of, but looks nice. I always say Dracaena. Any kind of Dracaena. They can also tolerate lower light conditions, which is always, you know, a plus. If you do have a ton of light, people love the fiddle leaf fig. You do need a lot of light for that one. Which plants do you no longer have that you once showcased? Okay, I gotta tell y'all a very embarrassing story. When I was getting rid of all the spider mite infested plants, I accidentally got rid of my only Syngonium aurea. I've propagated this plant so many times that I've had like numerous, you know, plants. I think because I was just like in the moment and trying to like quickly get rid of plants that were really infested, I didn't think and just threw out my Syngonium aurea because I thought I had another one. I was wrong. I later found out that nope, I only had one. That is definitely a plant that's on my wish list again. How stupid. Oh my gosh. My Anthurium Crystal Hope is no longer with me. She's beautiful. That venation, guys, and the leaves. Ugh. So those are two. Let me know if you guys want to see another video of me talking about all the plants that I no longer have that I once showcased. What is your all-time favorite movie? Oh my gosh. There's one movie that I always go back to when like I need my mood lifted, and it's Moana. I love Moana. My boyfriend makes fun of me so much. I love Moana. And this is gonna be a weird one. Kill Bill. I don't know. I know it's gory, guys, but Kill Bill. What systemic, if any, do you use for your plants in semi-hydro? Please tell us about it. Living in Canada, there are very strict rules when it comes to pest control. Systemics are illegal, I think, in Canada, so I do not use them. How and when did you realize houseplants can have pests? What was your first pest? My very first pest, I had a pothos and it was infested with mealybugs. Because it was a pothos, I just chucked that into the garbage. Shortly after that, because that was the phase where I was collecting a lot of calatheas, so I had spider mites, but it was like on a smaller scale. And so yeah, early on. Have you ever traveled outside of Canada? If so, favorite destination? I've been to the Philippines once, but I was 12. The most recent places I've been to was Boston, New York, and San Francisco. We'll love to go back to all three. San Francisco, I thoroughly enjoyed my time in San Francisco. If you were to give a pet a planty name, what would you name it? I honestly thought long and hard about this, and I think it would be the cutest thing to call like a pug, corgi, or like a French bulldog, Jose Bono. Can you imagine? Have you ever tried the fluvial stratum for plants? If yes, thoughts. If no, thoughts. This thing really tripped me out. I was like, what is this black stuff? I don't know much about it, guys, but as far as I know, the stratum is a substrate you use in aquariums. It also keeps a stable pH or drops it a little bit. I don't know what the difference would be though. For example, like I feel like propagating in pond or perlite would be the same just because the size of the individual substrate is the same. Do you guys want to see me try that substrate? If so, leave that in the comment section below. Current favorite show if you watch shows. Any recommendations? Listen, I am a Star Trek junkie, and this is an unpopular opinion, but my favorite is Star Trek Voyager. I've already watched that twice, the whole series. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, watched it again for the second time. Next Generation, you can't beat that. Currently on Netflix, it's not one of the newer ones, but I've been watching The Sinner. There are 4 seasons, and this is just based on my opinion. First season, great. Second season, fantastic. Third season, actual garbage, don't watch it. And 4th season, I'm in the middle of it, pretty good. I want to say great. DC Universe or Marvel Universe, and why? Why not? Oh my god, Quarantine Plant Mom, you are asking the good questions here. I have never been a DC person. I am definitely more of a Marvel person. Do you love Harry Potter or... I'm a fake fan when it comes to Harry Potter. I didn't read any of the books. The movies are great. My boyfriend and I have a tradition where we watch all the Harry Potter movies during the Halloween season. What's your partner's favorite plant in your collection? I asked him, I was like, hey, people want to know what your favorite plant is in my collection. He's like, I don't know. Like, we sat there for half an hour. He was like, I don't know. What's your favorite Hoya bloom visually, and what's your favorite Hoya bloom scent? Fantastic question. Okay, visually, it's going to have to be a tie between my Hoya cutest porcelana blooms. I just love, they really do look like porcelain, guys. And the second one would be the Hoya species NS0521. These blooms are so big and they're fuzzy. I mean, guys, come on, like they're so beautiful. Also one that no one talks about, and you know, it's not one that people have a lot of. Scent wise, I'm gonna have to say the Hoya Michele, so beautiful, so pink, and the smell was just so pleasant. Have you made any online plant community friends? You know, I've come to realize that the plant community they're a very kind bunch of people. So yeah, I have made a few planty friends. Definitely one of my closest planty friends would be Sam's Bakes and Plants. I'm pretty sure I followed him first, and you know, the reason being is because I saw, I mean, it's in his name, Bakes and Plants. I mean, that's kind of my vibe, guys. He has so many gems. He always sends me pictures. I freak out. Amazing collection he has. Oh my God, what is happening with my camera? Sorry, the battery was dying. Oh, I'm zooming in. What's the easiest Hoya to care for in your opinion? It's just based on my experience, guys. And again, my experience is only having these plants in LECA and Pon. I don't grow Hoyas in an arid mix or soil. Hoya Matilde, very easy. Hoya Bella, any kind, whether it's the variegated type or just the green one. Okay, I answered this before, but this is asking, what's the top 5 plants that you would save if your place is on fire? Okay, Burlmark's Flame was number 1. Okay, see, this becomes tricky because I cannot carry. I mean, can you imagine me just carrying that bucket? Oh my God, save the plants! Like, can you imagine just me running down the stairs like that? Okay, this is the plant. Burlmark's Flame. I take shears, I cut the top part of my Monstera aurea, a philodendron strawberry shake that's really variegated, Hoya New Guinea Ghost. I don't think I could pick any anthuriums because they're way too big. Oh, my forgetty eye. And I guess one of my small propagations of my Monstera type constellation. Favorite trailing Hoya. I'm gonna have to say Hoya Chingengensis. Also, like, saying that word is just amazing. Cinnamon roll or cheesecake? I think it's gonna have to be cheesecake. I make good cinnamon rolls, guys. I think I've shown it before. Love this. What was the plant that got you into plants? The Thai constellation, the Monstera albo, and probably the philodendron bilietiae. Do you top off your hydro plants with plain water weekly or just add more nutrient solution? I no longer do that. I might do it in the summertime, like July, August, when it gets really warm, when it gets really sunny, because you'll find that the reservoirs will completely dry out. And that's because your plant is really using a lot of water. It's really using a lot of the nutrients. I only do it because I don't want the roots to dry completely, because obviously if your roots dry out completely and you rehydrate them, you might have some root rot. Have you treated for flat mites before? I'm suspecting some of my Hoyas have them. I really, recommend getting a microscope to look at your Hoyas or whatever plant up close. You know what, I heard about them. I just checked all of them and all of them were fine. Some Hoyas, when I had the spider mite situation, I did do the hot water bath, and you'll see my last plant tour video, some Hoya cutting suffered. That one's a tough one because if I saw that on a Hoya, I think I would do that again and just risk it. I don't know. I have zero experience with sulfur. I want to do more research on the sulfur application. I do know a lot of people are using sulfur. Oh my God, this is the last question. What is your unpopular opinion about houseplants? I mean, I still believe that spraying your plants when it comes to increasing humidity is just like a waste of time. Also, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna get like attacked. I really don't think humidity is in like the priority of things when it comes to things you need to make your plant happy. Like, humidity is pretty low on that list. I really don't think humidity should be one of the priority things you kind of look at when you're growing plants. And I know, guys, there are some anthuriums and other plants that do require high humidity. Y'all know that my collection lives at 40% for the majority of the winter, sometimes 30, 35. I feel like people need to move other things up in their priority list, like light. Whoa, guys, we made it to the end. Ooh, I want to add a question to see who made it to the end. What is currently on your wish list? What is a plant that you absolutely need right now? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it to the very end, thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.